All right, I'm going to make this again statement. Giovanni was never a carer. Yes, I was mugged and robbed on my way home from work, but I never needed a carer. I never needed looking after. The injuries, as I have continuously said, although this has been twisted only since I met Giovanni, the injuries was the damage to my left eye, slip disc in the back, damage to my knee, back of the neck. So chronic migraines and other things I get from that. I'm not going to explain this because my injuries, this is a long time ago, and those injuries have been maintained. And it's no one's business, and to pry into this is breaking privacy laws and confidentiality laws. So I'm not going to give any further information up to do with the injuries of 2007 or 2010. Okay, and that's it, that's final. But I will say this, yes, Giovanni better get arrested for saying he was a carer and forging my signature, because I'll make this clear again. I did not see Giovanni often at all when we were together. The only times we ever saw each other was when we were going to a family function, okay? Or if we were going to Aunt Linda's and Uncle Tony's in Maryland every second Friday, or if I had a medical legal appointment to go to, that was it. Now, he wasn't a carer. He didn't come home and cook dinner. He didn't do the vacuum. He didn't do the cleaning. I wasn't sitting at home on the sofa or laying in bed all day. None of this was true. And I have asked Steve Hatcher-Dimitri from Chili Pip Sofas to give an accurate, okay, yes, I designed from 2006 my own sofa for him. So yes, he's known me since 2006. Give an accurate detail of when I started working for you in 2009. Because in 2009, I studied full-time at Enmore Design Centre. In 2010, I studied part-time in the design course, but I was going 7 days a week, almost 12 hours a day for Steve Hatcher-Dimitri in Chili Pip Sofas, like designing sofas from 2009 into 2012. Okay, then health conditions started catching up with me. I will not stand back and be lied about like I have in the last 9 years, and I will remind everybody you were told the truth by me. You chose to not accept it. You gaslighted me and chose to believe somebody else other than me. So you prevented the course of justice because Giovanni did commit fraud. No, I didn't. I never knew Giovanni when I was mugged after work. I met Giovanni the Monday after my nephew's first birthday in August 2008. I didn't start socializing with him until after September 2009, and then he was, and here's the thing, Giovanni Consalvo, or Jonathan Craig Consalvo, or Gio, or Johnny, whatever they want to call him, when he changed his name, when he moved from country town Adelaide to Sydney, he had only lived in Sydney not even 11 years when I met him. I'm from Sydney, my family's from Sydney, I lived a lot longer in Sydney than he has ever, that's where my home is, and so forth. He was living in a share house in Kensington with nothing. He had nothing except massive amounts of debt from when he went around Europe with his ex-boyfriend Mark Gilchrist. Giovanni told me when I met him that he was suffering a breakdown because of what Mark Gilchrist had done to him, although in 2009, Jane Harrison, who knows Mark Gilchrist, said that's bullshit. Then Giovanni said Jane Harrison's an ice addict, and I'm like, well, all your friends seem to be ice addicts, Giovanni. So, anyway, so I don't really care here or there, but I won't be lied about. I don't care, because when I met Giovanni, it was all doom and gloom. You've got no idea what Mark Gilchrist put me through. But then it's the same thing that he told people about me. So yeah, sorry, bullshit. I'm not putting up with this shit, okay? And that's final. What it's cost me in the last 9 years is what it's cost me what I worked hard for, my savings. So when I met Giovanni, I just sold my investment property, which is 16 Scott Road, but I had other fixed term deposits and other savings accounts. So in one savings account, which is where the money went to from, 16 Scott Road, I had 140,000 in the bank. Giovanni knew this. Giovanni, he was struggling in debt, an unemployed waiter, no assets, no belongings, no savings, also had child support debt, didn't even own his car, living in a share house with a mattress, an Xbox and a TV. That's all he had to his name, not even clothing. Okay, because he didn't have much at all. Everything fitted into a 3-door hatch. His whole life fitted into a 3-door hatchback. And he came and lived with me. His entire life packed up and fitted into a 3-door hatchback, and he came and lived with me. And that's the facts, right? Now I had, like I said, yep, fine, I was off work from being mugged and robbed November 30th, 2007, but that's my business, no one else's business. So I don't understand why other people started getting information that didn't come from me. I said this to George Jacobs several times, several times. I met George Jacobs around the exact same time I met Giovanni Consalvo in 2008. He was told several times by me, including a statement that I made in March when I just got back from overseas in March 2013. Okay, and I don't care what you're not going to turn around and say, oh, I was doing this to help you. You did not help me. You helped yourself get ahead. You're not going to say that and gaslight me or do this treatment towards me that's so narcissistic because you knew what you were doing, especially when I kept turning around going, what did you say to this organization? Can you stop telling people you're a carer? You know, can you stop? You're hindering my life. The facts are, yes, I was mugged and robbed November 30th, 2007. That's right. But I also had other commitments still. Other side commitments other than VIP host job at Star Casino. Okay? Now I can give a massively detailed timeline to everything. My memory hasn't changed. There's no change in me. There was this crap that has gone on. Yes, I had the injuries, but that's also a long time ago. Moved on. Like, it was meant to be a part salary payment for 10 years, and then at the end of the 10 years I can negotiate my job back. And the reason behind this, and I'm going to make this perfectly clear, was because Star Casino wanted that, not me. Because as the injuries were when I was first mugged and robbed, it's a Glasgow Coma Scale 13. So if they had have terminated my employment straight away because I couldn't go back to work, so that means terminated November 30, 2007, that meant paying me a massive, huge payout, and they didn't want to do that. So they opted to say part salary payment for 10 years. Then they kept holding my job off and saying I couldn't have it back, couldn't have it back, couldn't have it back. So then October 2009, they could remove me and say not employed, like basically from them, but still part salary payment will continue into 2017. And my solicitor said, look, the silver line on this, yeah, it's bad. It's bad. But the silver lining is you can negotiate your job back. You know, you'll have part salary payment just to live on. It's nothing. Like, it's bad. But, and I'm like, look, it doesn't matter. I've still got my savings, my assets and belongings. So I've got part salary payment to live on. In 2017, I can negotiate my job back. Okay, I'm going to go back to my stubbies. And that's what it was. So Giovanni wasn't rushing home caring for me. Again, Giovanni was out every single weekend. I never saw him. So don't say I was stopping him seeing his socialising or he was going to the doctors going, oh, I've got all this to do. I can't even go for a swim. He's lying. He's fucking lying. A great example of this is March 2013, Snezana from his work wanted to catch up with him. He texted her back and said, oh, I can't. Justin's having an episode and he's not leaving the apartment. I have to stay and look after him. Now, that's what he said. Okay, but March 2013, I was overseas. I wasn't here. Now, Giovanni Consalvo also went into Dr. George Jacobs, crying his eyes out to how bad I was in March 2013 and how he couldn't leave the house. Okay? So I get back from overseas and George Jacobs told me he's contacted the crisis group and all these organizations to check on me. Are you okay? Like, I heard you had really bad episodes. I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I wasn't in the country. Then I find out that Giovanni had sex parties and drug parties at my apartment while I was away. That's the facts. So I will stand here and say police has an obligation to press criminal charges for fraud and also the forging of my signature. I won't back down because he had plenty of chances to go and tell the truth. After I found out some information in 2015, I said, you've just involved these organizations into my life in 2016. Correct their lies. Tell Matt O'Rourke the truth. He's like, oh, it is. I'm like, no, it's not. And you know it's not. I barely saw you every Friday. It was like Thursdays, Fridays after work. I'm having drinks, he's out partying. That was days went by. I never saw him. 3 days could pass and he's off staying at someone else's house. He's off partying at King's Cross. He's going down Oxford Street. He was out all the time. He left for work. He was having breakfast out, lunch out. He was eating dinners out all the time. I never saw him. I've made this very clear. Unless it was a medical legal appointment, and the only reason by that because my solicitor was like, oh, Giovanni drove you to your appointment. I'm like, wait a minute, let's pull this back a bit. I was slandered for a medical legal appointment with Dr. Melik, who was really nasty and lied about me and slandered me. And my solicitor said, you need to bring a witness with you, Justin. They're going to attack you. You know, they should be just relying on the documents. And they're not. And I was furious. It was just really horrible. It was defamation of character. It was slander. It was so horrible. He goes, bring a witness with you. He goes, just bring your partner with you so you've got someone to back you up. Now, the normal job role of a partner, which is what Giovanni Consalvo was, my partner, okay? The normal job role of a partner, what you would do for your partner. Okay, Giovanni expected to be paid for it or get some special treatment, but it's like, but you're my partner. Like, and I think that's a disgusting, narcissist, toxic person that I've had to live with, because, for example, your partner has to go to a medical legal appointment that is known 3 months in advance. Because I need a witness, could you come with me? Oh, can't you bring a friend? That's what it was like. I'm like, well, I could, but you're my partner. Like, if the roles were reversed, like, it was just nasty. Like, I've got a medical legal to go to. It's part of, where can't you? And you'll get the shits. It's like, well, I'm giving you 3 months. No, if you can't, don't worry about it. Oh, I've got to do this, I've got to do that. It's like, oh, okay. Oh, then it even had stuff to do with, health conditions that was caused in 2010, that he caused in 2010. And it was this big sort of song and dance. It's like, okay, you do, like, we own a relationship. If you don't want, like, leave my apartment. Like, this is why I kicked him out in 2011. I kicked him out of my place in 2011, and he came back the day before Christmas Eve in 2011. Because I was like, that is it, we are over. Like, you've been telling Uncle Tony bullshit. You've been telling my cousins, Uncle Tony, Auntie Linda, because I only reconnected with them at Nan's funeral on my dad's side. So Nan's funeral in October 2007. Didn't really start socialising with them until December 2008. And Giovanni, that was one good manipulation that Giovanni could do, because they didn't know me. No idea about me. So Auntie Sharon's children, it's like, well, he manipulated them. Because everything that he told them was bullshit. And that is the truth. And I can back it all up. I'm not going to be gaslighted. I'm not going to sit back and be gaslighted and say, oh, poor Giovanni. What poor Giovanni? What poor Giovanni? Because he was out all the time. He was out all the time. And then he used to get home. Like, where's the phone? He used to get home and he'd be still and so he goes, when I get home from work, you can't talk to me for an hour. He was horrible. He was an evil, horrible, narcissistic, control freak, toxic person to live with. He was just horrible. I was walking on eggshells the entire time. He would get me so neurotic before an appointment, I would almost look like I'd have a breakdown. He would just be screaming at me. He would be doing things. He'd be throwing furniture. He'd be smashing things, upending things like he has done. And it had me a nervous wreck, and then I've got to go into a medical legal appointment. I'm like, I'm a nervous wreck. I'm an absolute nervous fucking wreck. He's just had me awake for 3 days. I'm a nervous fucking wreck. And he used to do it was torture. I am telling the truth. I had been bullied. I have been abused. I have been, and all this when unnoticed, and I'm trying to tell my own family the truth. To the point, there was a period back, what was it? 2011 might have been as well, around that time when he smashed my car door. So he had the shits and he smashed the car door, the Black Alpha, and like seriously I had to go and pay to have it refixed, the hinge redone. And my car was parked on Young Street, and so I walked to the lights. He's followed me to the lights on the corner of Young Street. So the lights that go from Young Street to Marlborough Street, crossing Cleveland Street. I'm there at those lights, and he's come. I said, "Don't you come back to my place? Get out! Don't you come near me." I've walked in my front door, 392 Cleveland Street. He's pushed his way in. I've pushed him out. Then he rang the police on me, and the police came, and I said, "Look, he's not walking me. I've just pushed him out." And they said, "Oh, you pushed him? Oh, that's a domestic violence." I'm like, what? They charged me with domestic assault because I pushed him. I said, but he's trespassing. This is my place. He's trespassed. He doesn't pay rent. He doesn't pay utilities. He pays nothing. He's moved into my place. So then he was being a smart ass and he got to stay in my place. They arrested me and he's got the keys and they've let him into my place. And this is what Surrey Hills Police did. Surrey Hills Police allowed him to be my residence, and I'm there going, he's not allowed to be my residence. They're like, they've been assholes to me. It's like, he doesn't live there. He can go back to the share house he's lived in Kensington. This is back in, so this is, was it 2011 or 2009? This might have happened too, because there was several segments. He just kept doing this behaviour towards me since he moved into my place in 2009. If I had to go to an appointment, say to see George Jacobs, I'm trying to have a shower and get ready, and he will be running through the place or doing things. I have to go in the bathroom, stopping me going to the bathroom, stopping me getting dressed, turning the tap on, doing things. I'm like, I'm trying to shower, I'm trying to get ready. Can you stop? Oh my God, an appointment that would take me, say if I'm, getting ready for an appointment, having a coffee, half-hour shower. Excuse me, my allergies are spring allergies. he would be deliberately making me jump out of my skin, and I'll get there and I'm like, oh my god, I have just had the last 3 hours of, I'm walking on eggshells, I'm exhausted, I am so, oh my god. And he would do this all the time to me, all the time. It is the most horrible thing I have ever lived with in my entire life. And then I spoke up in 2015. And I spoke up. And I was lied about since. And that's it. I won't back down. I have just gone through years of it. Like I said, there was all this bullshit, but you've got to let go and move on from the casino. I was like, why do I? There's something in place. I've gone back to my studies. I've moved on. Giovanni wasn't a carer. He moved in with me. You've got wrong information. Your organisations like Matt O'Rourke and all these other wankers got involved with lies. That's your business. You can face criminal charges for that. So can Abigail and Frances Noyce. You were told by me and the information's not true. I won't back down. Okay, I don't care if, we love Giovanni, which is what all my dad's side were carrying on with. Margie Clay was carrying on with, sucking up Marianne Michalski's ass. I don't care. You can support somebody that committed fraud and forgery. You can support someone that did treat me like shit the entire time. Meanwhile, he's going off meeting friends all the time. Like I said, all the bullshit he told people wasn't true. Barely saw him, and here's the other facts. I have emails that I sent back when I was working for Steve Hatch and Dimitri from St. Peter's. So I'm there in St. Peter's. So how can I be in two places at once? I barely saw Giovanni from 2009 to 2012. He was at my place by himself. And then, I barely saw him, for example, March 2013. If I'm not in the country, how can he be looking after me at my place of residence? That makes no sense. And I told George Jacobs this, I told Workers' Comp, they didn't correct it. No one corrected it. I'm like, but I'm not in the country. Check it for immigration. So how can you have information down that Justin was having this episode and we've gone through crisis group now and, all this bullshit when I wasn't here? How can you have that I'm in my apartment when I'm actually, going and studying at Emerald Design Centre, or when I'm actually working for Steve Hatch and Dimitri at Chili Pit from 2009 to 2012? Or how can you say that Giovanni's looking after me in January? Was it January 2011? Man's 80th. How can you say that Giovanni was looking after me and caring for me when he was in Adelaide and I was in Tamworth by myself? Or was it December 2010? Giovanni, leading up to, or November, Giovanni was in Adelaide and I was by myself with my mother and my mother's family. So none of this is true. There is no, and I've been continuously since 2015 saying correct the lies. I won't back down. And there's no way in hell I'll back down, because everybody had a chance in 2016 to say, all right, stop. You can stop with the bullshit lies. You can stop taking time off work saying that it's for Justin when it wasn't, because I never saw you, and I can coincide this with your little fisting parties. Okay, you can stop your bullshit that you've spread to these Acons and Bobby Goldsmith and reach out organisations, getting all these people to back you, which he did. Okay, these support workers, carers, and all this bullshit, and the cleaner. Okay, so I moved out of my apartment from April 2015 to October 2015. Okay, and during that period of time, because I was walking on eggshells, I was staying away anywhere I could just to avoid him. All right, after April 2015. And a lot of it that was to do with my mum's side and family stuff, but that's because of the way my family treated me and the way they sucked up his ass. It's like they throw their own blood, their own family member under the bus and support a complete stranger. My dad's side is good at it. Dad's sister's children, as much as I'm friends with them, they wrong. They did a lot of wrong. They did a lot of wrong. And I'm not going to stand up and apologise. I don't expect it, because I'm thinking it does no sweat on my back, because they don't really know me. Then it's just like catching up with a complete stranger that I happen to be related to. Dad's sister's children. So that's all it is. It's like, okay, I'll catch up with a complete stranger that I'm just related to. But this is the truth. And I won't be putting up with it. And the shit that has come in from Tamworth, where my mother moved to, from people in Sydney at 9 years. I'm like, well, this is ridiculous. I said the truth. You chose to not accept the truth, well, that's your problem. You threw me under the bus and protected a complete stranger that used people to get ahead. Fine. Now, we can go back to August 2008 and we can have a good hard look at what I had in assets, belongings, and savings and income coming in, and we can have a look at what Giovanni had, which was nothing except massive amounts of debt. And then we can draw a conclusion just based on that. Here's what I had: a lot of money, a lot of savings, a lot of assets, a lot of belongings, still had income coming in, and my own place set up in Surrey Hills. And here's Giovanni living in a share house, and we can see just how much debt he had, massive amounts. That's what we can do. Because I'll tell everybody now, after the damage that you've caused me for the last 9 years, you've caused me consistent damage that has been worse than anything I've ever gone through in my entire life, even caused me more damage than what it was to be mugged and robbed on my way home from work. And no, I'm not mentally fucking retarded. And this bullshit brain, when you have a bleed inside your skull, it's a brain injury. It's like, it's not a brain injury like what people think. Or Glasgow Coma Skull 30. It's not a brain injury like what people think. Don't make this into something like even more than what it is. It's like, because that's what you're doing. No, I'm not mentally fucking retarded. Okay? This is enough. And as for my dog, training my dog because of my asthma and allergies, I'm not going to keep repeating this. Seriously, I had a green card since 2014. I did study design. I did work in it. I was going to go back to it because it wasn't what I have done is that great where it could have landed me a good job. No, I couldn't have. It was just enjoyable. So I couldn't get a good job out of it. I had to go back and keep studying more. So I wasn't, I was going to do that, but it's not here or there. I still applied for a green card, got a green card, was sitting on it because I wanted to, finish other stuff off in Australia before I moved so I would be in a better position in the US because it wasn't greyhound therapy, all right? It wasn't therapy. And then as my dog's not a therapy dog. I made this perfectly clear when I had the green card to the US and I'm getting a dog. I'm like, okay, well, the US requirements for service dogs, you can have mobility problems, and I do. A slip disc in my back is enough. So actually, the slip disc in my back was more than enough for the service dog organisation. So you look at the CT scans, that's more than enough to train him as a service dog and register him as a US service dog. Asthma was more than enough to train him as a service dog and have him registered. Not therapy. It wasn't therapy. None of this was therapy. And all this is extremely damaging. Extremely damaging. The entire lot. Like, to the point that you could not find anything in my life that would cause me more damage or even equal amount of damage to what the last 9 years since 2015 has caused me.